Niger farmers flee as 82 communities, 90 schools and clinics submerged. Kwara court hands death sentences to 5 notorious robbers in the Offa robbery. Federal government suspends top prison officials over Bobrisky scandal. And on the international scene, Benin Republic arrests 3 suspects in shocking takeover attempt. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I am Sumaya Abubakar. And now the details. At least 82 farming communities in Mokwa local government area of Niger State have been reportedly ravaged by flood following the torrential downpour that lasted for hours on Monday and Tuesday. Several hectares of farmlands and valuables worth millions of naira were also reported to have been washed away during the incident. In Moregi axis, the ward 51 communities were affected, while 31 others were affected in Gbara ward. Also submerged were 47 primary schools and 43 primary healthcare centers in Moregi, Gbara and Jagi wards, all of Mokwa local government area of the state. Confirming the incident, the Director, Media and Strategy, Niger State Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, Habibu Abubakar Ushishi, said no life was lost, adding that the affected farmers have moved to safer places. He said the state government commiserated with the affected communities while urging them to relocate to safer grounds in compliance with NIMET prediction. Now joining us via phone call is Daily Trust reporter Abubakar Akote in Niger State to give us an update on the situation. Good evening, Akote.
Good evening.
So what is the latest emergency response for displaced persons?
The emergency situation now from the victims requires an emergency intervention from authorities. I spoke with some of them from about less than 2 hours ago, and the situation, according to them, is that they are in bad need of food and clothing, and also the shelter is inadequate. Currently, no fewer than 30 people sleep in a classroom where they are taking refuge, and they couldn't take their food out of their homes when the flood hit them, so which has also caused a lot of what the humanitarian practice of the victim. Also, about 70% of them are out of their home. A few others are bathing their homes, sleeping on water, using their canoes, because we said that if all of them vacate their home, there is likely that thieves will invade their communities and take and steal the other valuables that they were not able to take. And they have lost most of their animals, such as cattle and dogs. They couldn't move them when the flood hit.
Speaking of the flood now, give us a picture of what the level of water, and how it affected, these communities across the affected areas.
As at 5 p.m. this evening, new pictures were sent to me, which were taken at that time. And the water level, according to victims, was rising. As at 5 p.m., a block of classroom, the water was at the level of a block of classroom in Moregi and other places. And also, the victims said they are in fear because they have been informed by some hydroelectric power dams that they are going to discharge water into, which supposedly is going to worsen the flood they are already experiencing. So the situation right in the area now is particularly the hope of return is not in sight.
So this rainy season is just starting. Due to the predictions of the NIMET is saying there's more to come. What is the state government doing for people closer to those affected areas that are yet to be affected by this?
What the National Emergency Management Agency told me this evening that they are sensitizing other communities that have not been affected to comply with the climate prediction, and their school has certainly relocate and move their families out of their home before the disaster hit them. They are also, so the government has also directed that they should respond to the victims that have already been affected in terms of procurement of food items and more food items to push up the effect of the disaster that has already hit them.
All right. Thank you so much, Abubakar Akwete, for that update. We'll definitely reach out to you for subsequent updates.
You're welcome.
All right. Still on flood matters, the National Orientation Agency, NOA, the NOAA, has called on communities in flood-prone areas in Kogi State to relocate to highlands as the Benue and Niger rivers record increase in water levels for days. The Director General of NOAA, Landre Isao Nilu, gave the advice on Thursday at Edeha community in Kotong Karfe, the headquarters of Kogi local government area, when he led the NOAA flood sensitization and evaluation team to sensitize communities in the state. According to Kogi State Emergency Management Agency, the SEMA, the water level of Benue and Niger rivers had risen from 5 meters to about 9.2 meters on September 25th. The NOAA DG said the release of water from Cameroon's Lagdo Dam could cause a significant flooding and environmental damage in Nigeria, especially in 11 states, including Kogi State, as predicted by the National Hydrological Information Service, the NISA. The NOA DJ, who was represented by the agency's Director of Planning, Research and Statistics, Abuja, Nuru Kobi, stressed that flood disaster was imminent and urged people in riverine communities to seek shelter in safer places immediately. Meanwhile, the Executive Secretary, Kogi State Emergency Management Agency, Mukhtar Atima, said the state governor, Ahmed Ododo, has given the agency the marching order to avert a possible flood disaster or ensure that in the event of a flood, the impact is brought to the barest minimal. Atima disclosed that the government had set up 42 internally displaced persons camps across 8 flood-prone local government areas of the state. Residents of Birnin Kebbi and environs have appealed to the state government to immediately fix the Makera Bridge, which is on the verge of collapsing following heavy downpours in the area. And the bridge, which links the state to neighboring Niger Republic, has far-reaching consequences. The reaching consequences as it will severely disrupt the daily lives of locals and foreigners who use it for business transaction with the state and Nigeria as a whole. The report.
It's been over 7 days since the Makera Bridge that links a critical transportation artery connecting Nigeria and Niger Republic has been on the verge of collapsing, with the threat of disrupting trade, commerce, and daily life in the region. Prior to the bridge's construction, people had to travel for hours to set local governments like Kangiwa and Argungu, or risk traveling by canoes, which was extremely risky. The construction of the bridge came as a huge relief to the people of Kebbi State as it fosters economic growth and development while supporting the livelihoods of thousands, including farmers, traders, and travelers. The bridge's impending collapse has blocked vehicular access and severely impacting commuters and motorists. With no alternative, people now cross on foot, while goods are manually carried by pedestrians, causing significant disruptions. A health worker who relies on the bridge to go to work daily lamented the significant delay he faces while trying to keep appointments since the bridge collapsed.
Especially for health workers that needs to meet up sometimes with time and schedule, but due to this problem of this road, we are really having a challenge, and it's a very big one.
Another commuter and businessman lamented how the bridge's near collapse has disrupted supply chains through increased cost, profit erosion for entrepreneurs, and other negative effects on the community.
Price of the commodities has to increase. If we are to buy a mood at the rate of 2,500, now it is 2,800. Why? Because the cars will not be able to reach our village.
A road union chairman in the area, Abubakar Bangai, says he is grateful that no human losses have been recorded, adding that the security personnel and union representatives are on site, ensuring the safety of people and hoping the government will start repairs soon so that their lives can return to normal.
Alhamdulillah da Allah kaddari We thank Allah that the bridge did not collapse with anybody. Adequate security has been put in place to ensure safety.
In a signed press statement by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Ahmed Idris, stated that the Commissioner for Works, Kebbi State, Honorable Abdullahi Muslim, assured the general public of the state government's swift response through his ministry. This response aims to ensure the bridge's reconstructions for public use and safety. This disaster has intensified existing challenges, turning daily life into struggle. To this end, the people are calling for urgent solutions to alleviate the suffering on people. From Birnin Kebbi, Yungu Cynthia, reporting for Trust TV.
Residents of Yenagua, that's in Captain Ayena Street, the Bayelsa State capital, have called on the state government to construct a proper drainage system in the area to reduce the impact of flooding there. According to them, the street always gets flooded whenever there is a heavy downpour, adding that homes and business premises in the area also get adversely affected, leading to low patronage. Trust TV's Friday Ebimobile Peters report.
According to some residents, the situation has become a worrisome, taint with many gearing for their lives during the rainy season.
Though some customers might not be able to navigate the water when the rain falls and the water gathers on the road like this, but still we manage it, because after some days the water flows off. There is possibility of making it the way that the road will be, that the water will not be gathering here, will not be lodging here. That will be better for us, so that there will be free flow of movement, whether in rainy season or dry season.
Actually, it affects us very, very bad, very, very bad, because even without the flood, you can see for yourself, the rain, see water everywhere, people are suffering. And once the rain fall like this, water normally enter people's houses. And sometimes for you, like people that are working, they will not arrange your things very well. Before you come back from your place of work, before you see water inside your house. From the gutter, actually, the gutter is not big, because as you can see, the water is just flowing up and up and up. If the gutter is big enough, then there will not be water standing in the street or entering people's houses.
With the water taking over 3 days to recede in most cases, some residents say they are usually forced to find shelter somewhere else while waiting for the waters to dry.
We have experienced this over several years, and we are still keep begging the government to come and raise the road up so that this rain flood will not affect us much. And the drillage is the major issue in this area, in this Yenagua, because there is no drillage over here in this Yenagua. Look at the express. There's nowhere this water is moving to. So we are really suffering from this street and this road for this drillage matter and the water matter. So we are begging on the government to come and settle this issue for us.
It's over flooded most of the time when rain falls, and it's too flooded, and the road is kind of low. In terms of walking, in terms of going out, in terms of coming in, like there's water, you have to put your leg on water at every given point in time. So that's it.
Although Thursday's rain was not as heavy as other days, yet some parts of the street were reportedly flooded. From Yenagua, Friday, Ebimobowe Peter, Trust TV News.
On security matters, Justice Halima Salman of the Kwara State High Court has found the 5 suspects involved in the Offa robbery incident guilty of armed robbery and culpable homicide. She has subsequently sentenced them to death by hanging. Delivering judgment, which lasted 3.5 hours, the judge said all evidence submitted by the prosecuting team found them guilty. The report.
It all began 6 years ago when armed robbers attacked 5 banks in Offa, Kwara State, killing 9 police officers and over 20 civilians during the robbery operation. Several adjournments due to COVID-19 and national assignments for the judge led to the long delay in the judgment. When the court finally ready to deliver judgment, it was filled to capacity with lawyers and journalists who were wagered to know the fate of the 5 suspects who had pleaded not guilty of the offense. After 3.5 hours, Justice Alima Salman of the State High Court, Ilorin, found the 5 guilty of the charges of culpable homicide and armed robbery and sentenced them to death by hanging. On the charge of possession of firearms, these suspects were sentenced to 3 years in prison. Briefing journalists, the prosecutor thanked the court for the judgment, which he says reflects the true situation of things.
Trial has been concluded today, and then His Lordship saw that the prosecution has proved his case beyond reasonable doubt, and then convicted them for those 3 major offenses: armed robbery, murder, that is culpable homicide punishable with death, and unlawful possession of firearm.
The representative of the Defense Counsel, however, says the judgment will be appealed soon.
6 years, slow but steady, and at the end of the day, His Lordship was able to conclude the trial today, and we all know what we proved and the evidence, the witnesses that testify, the exhibit we tendered, and from the totality of the evidence before the court, it shows clearly that the prosecution proved his case beyond reasonable doubt, and the judge accordingly gave judgment. But that is not the end of the thing, because they still have their right of appeal to Court of Appeal. They can still proceed even up to Supreme Court. But one thing is clear, that we spent these 6 years on account of so many things. The trial within trial, where the defendant will have to raise that his statement were not voluntary. We spend a lot of time on that.
The judgment is not come by surprise to me. Of course, in line with the evidence that used in court and vis-a-vis the evidence of the prosecutions and what have you, and the evidence before the court, we envisage that definitely it's going to be like this. And most especially, this matter called for public interest. And definitely, I am not surprised. And likewise, my principal counsel is not in surprise as regards to the judgment of today.
With the judgment, the 6 years long wait has come to an end, and the people are waiting to know the next move by the Defense Counsel.
The Nigerian Army says its troops have neutralized over 60 senior terrorist leaders and arrested over 2,000 others in the 3rd quarter of this year. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, who disclosed this at the 3rd quarter press conference held in Abuja, added that troops also rescued over 1,000 kidnapped hostages and recovered over 1,000 weapons, among others. The report.
It's another opportunity for the military authorities to provide updates on operations across the country. Director, Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, gave a rundown of troops' achievements in the 3rd quarter. Despite the tactics and schemes of the terrorists, the military reaffirmed its commitment to safeguarding citizens and defending the nation against terrorist attacks. The Director of Defense Media Operation appealed to residents to support the military with timely and credible information in order to strengthen the fight against insurgency.
On election matters, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has presented certificates of return to the winner of the Edo State governorship election, Monday Okpebolo, of the All Progressive Congress, the APC. The ceremony took place at the INEC headquarters in Abuja on Thursday. INEC declared Okpebolo winner of the Saturday, September 21st election after polling 291,667 votes to beat his closest contender, Asu Ighodalo of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, who polled 247,274 votes. Olumide Akpata of the Labour Party, the LP, came a distant third in the race with 22,763 votes. 14 other candidates contested the seat but got less than the 3 frontline candidates. The APC candidates cleared over 10 of the 18 local government areas, leaving the PDP candidate with a marginal victory in the other local councils.
Edo people have spoken, and now it's time for me to go and do the work for them. That is what they elected me to do, and that is what I'm going to do.
We now have a governor who understands that for the child of a cassava farmer to rise to become a senator or to become an engineer or a doctor, that he must employ teachers in schools to teach all the science subjects and build schools that will appeal to the young minds.
Edo State was APC state, but later on it was the governor cross-carpeted, a nomadic politician. He cross-carpeted to PDP, and today we fought for it and we have recovered our state. So we're so happy, especially that our governor-elect is an experienced politician, a distinguished senator who has a blueprint for the development of Edo State.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has met with the Edo State governor-elect Monday Okpebolo, who ran and won last Saturday's election as the candidate of the All Progressive Congress, the APC. He was accompanied on the visit to the State House Abuja by former Edo State Governor Adams Oshomole and other APC leaders. The president commended the APC stakeholders in Edo State for the work that they had put into the success of the election. Kehinde Amodu reports.
The Edo governorship election was a very tight race, as indicated in the difference in the number of votes between the two leading contenders. It is a signal to the governor-elect that he has to work hard to win the goodwill of those that did not vote for him and to keep the confidence of those in his camp. It is probably why President Tinubu is advising him before he gets to office that democracy is very hard.
You can face the task of development. We are here to work with you. You've seen the governors of APC, the Progressive Governors Forum. They are truly progressive. And you better work with them, learn the ropes. Adam Oshomole did a yeoman's job. We did the thinking together on many instances. I believe you are up to the task.
Speaking to newsmen after the visit, the governor-elect promised that a lot of benefits would come to the people of Edo State.
I feel very happy. I think Edo people have spoken with their vote. For me, I'm coming as a servant to serve the Edo people. That is what is required of me. And that is what exactly I'm going to do. So very soon, you will see a lot of development coming up in Edo. We are going to employ teachers. We are going to renovate our schools. We are going to... A lot will be happening.
Former APC chairman and serving senator Adams Oshomole described Okpebolo as a man with compassion and human feeling, pointing out that governance was not just about building schools and roads.
Because governance is not just about building roads and schools. There's that human touch, a governor with empathy. Humble enough to recognize that public trust is not like a corporate chief executive. Corporate chief executive can behave the way he wants because he has the business because it is his father's money. But public trust, the vote of the laborer and the vote of the professor, the vote of the pauper, the beggar, and the vote of the wealthiest person, one man, one vote is equal. And so we have a governor who understands this.
The APC leaders are advising the opposition parties in Edo State to accept the results of the polls.
On the day of the election, one very interesting scenario took place. It was raining heavily, and yet people came out to vote without using an umbrella. So, Your Excellency, you see how people were convinced that our party should be the party to be voted for. Your Excellency, we won the election.
But as they advise, some of their words are probably pricking their consciences, largely because of the immense hardship that has held Nigerians captive in the 16 months since they came to office. From State House, Abuja, Kehinde Amudu, Trust TV News.
The Plateau State Independent Electoral Commission has announced plans to hold a mock election on Saturday, September 28, as part of the preparations for the local government elections scheduled for October 9, 2024. The head of media, Plasiek Koro Yakubu, made this known in a statement issued to journalists in Jos on Thursday. She explained that the exercise is aimed at test running the deployment of the voter verification software for the election using live voters. Also, according to her, the mock election will be conducted in 6 selected local governments across the state's senatorial districts and will take place between 9 a.m. and 12 noon. The electoral body further stated that the local government areas where the mock election will be held include Wase, Shandam, Panchin, Mangu, Riom, and Jos North. A federal high court sitting in Kano on Wednesday rejected All Progressive Congress, the APC, application to frustrate the State Independent Electoral Commission from conducting the local government election. In a motion ex parte filed on 20th September before Justice Simon Omobeda, APC, and one Aminu Aliyu Tiga against the state electoral umpire, Kano State House of Assembly, Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice, and 11 other defendants, the plaintiffs urged the court to grant interim injunction to restrain the conduct of the council election across the 44 local government areas. The plaintiff also sought the leave of the court for interim injunction directing all parties to maintain status quo and for the electoral body particularly to stay further actions regarding the preparation for the conduct of the poll in Kano, pending the hearing and determination of the motion on notice. APC had further asked the court to grant the leave of the bailiff of the court to service Kansiek and State Assembly and other defendants with all the processes in the suit through any staff or officer at the office of the Attorney General of the state. Responding to APC prayers, Justice Omobeda declined to grant an interim injunction, staking to stop Kanseak from perfecting arrangements for the processes of the conduct of council election already slated to hold 26th of October 2024. This is Trust News Hour. Coming up, Senate approves establishment of Southwest Development Commission. This and more after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. If you're just joining us, this is Trust News Hour. Here's a recap of our top stories. We brought you Niger farmers flee as 82 communities, 90 schools and clinics submerged. And Kwara court hands death sentences to 5 in notorious Offa robbery. Moving on to more stories. The federal government has suspended some senior officers of the Nigerian Correctional Service over bribery allegations regarding controversial cross-dresser Idris Okuneye, widely known as Bob Risky. In a statement on Thursday, the Civil Defense Correctional Fire and Immigration Services Board said the suspension of the officers followed a viral video on alleged infractions against them. The statement signed by Jafaru Ahmed said the suspension of the officers is to allow for further investigation of the various allegations while assuring that the outcome will be made public when concluded. The officer are Michael Anugwa, Deputy Controller of Corrections, DCC, in charge of Media Security Custodial Center, Kirikiri, Lagos State, and Sikiru Adekunle, Deputy Controller of Corrections at the DCC, in charge of Maximum Security Custodial Center, Kirikiri, Lagos State. The board also suspended ASC 2nd Ogugbele Samuel Obina, serving at the Medium Security Custodial Center, Afikpo, Ebonyi State, for allegedly accompanying a convicted inmate out of the custodial center to a location outside the facility. It suspended another senior officer of the service, Ilua Fonsi Kevin Ikechukwu, Deputy Controller of Corrections, the DCC, in charge of Medium Security Custodial Center, Kuje Abuja, for allegedly receiving monies on behalf of an inmate. The House of Representatives on Thursday tasked the federal government to mandate authorities of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, the NNPCL, and the Dangote refinery to allow independent marketers to lift premium motor spirit, PMS, from the Dangote refinery. The resolution was passed sequel to the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance sponsored by Oboku Abonsi Zibe of 4G, who solicited the intervention of the House. The report.
In his lead debate, Oforji observed that the Dangote Petroleum Refinery began operation in its 650,000 barrels per day integrated refinery on the 15th of September 2024, having the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited (NNPCL) as the sole off-taker.
The NNPCL should allow independent marketers to lift the product from the Dangote refinery. Cognizant that allowing independent marketers, major marketers, along with the NNPCL, to lift from the Dangote refinery will lead to competition, availability of product, hence reduction in the price of petroleum motor spirit, PMS.
Also on Thursday, the House passed the 2024 supplementary bill of 288 billion naira for the Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA. The lower legislative chamber passed the supplementary appropriation bill for third reading on Thursday after Mukhtar Betara, chairman of the House Committee on FCT, presented the report. While presenting the report, Betara sought the approval of his colleagues for the budget, noting that there are critical projects that need to be completed within a short time frame.
Speaker, honorable colleagues, that this House do consider the report of Committee on Federal Capital Territory on a bill for an act to authorize the issue from Federal Capital Territory Administration Statutory Revenue Fund of the Federal Capital Territory Administration account the total sum of 288 billion naira, of which the sum of 31,100 million is for overhead costs, while the sum of 256 billion 900 million is for capital projects.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has launched an investigation into bribery allegations against the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) and the Nigerian Correctional Service (NCS). The allegations made by social media influencer Martins Othe, also known as Very Dark Man, claimed that the EFCC dropped money laundering charges against Idris Okuneye, also known as Bobrisky, after receiving 15 million naira. The Honorable representing Ikotekmene Esen Udim Obotakara, Federal Constituency of Akwa Ibom State, Patrick Umo, sponsored the motion during Thursday's plenary, expressing concern over the damaging allegations.
The House also notes the publication alleges that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) dropped money laundering charges against Idris Okuneye, also known as Bobrisky, upon collection of the sum of 15 million naira. This House further notes that the publication alleges that the Idris Okuneye, upon conviction for abuse and defacing of the naira by the court, did not serve his time at the Nigeria Correctional Service, but was lodged outside the confines of the service.
On Wednesday, the Minister of Interior, also ordered an investigation into the claims.
The Senate has passed the Southwest Development Commission Bill 2024 into law as part of efforts to expedite action on the infrastructural development of the region. This came after the bill scaled the third reading. The report.
The third reading followed the consideration and approval of the bill's recommendations by all senators present during Thursday's plenary.
And taking into account the relevance of the Southwest Development Commission, the committee resolved that the Southwestern geopolitical bone of this country should have one, and accordingly recommends that the Senate to consider and pass the Southwest Development Commission Establishment Bill SB 102.
In his remarks after the passage of the bill, Deputy President of the Senate, Barrow Jibrin, who presided over the session, commended the Senator Kaka-led committee for a job well done.
We will have to put that region in the best place to have an environment that will be conducive for the people in that region.
Recently, the Upper Legislative Chamber passed bills to establish the Northwest Development Commission, North Central Development Commission, and Southeast Development Commission. Similarly, the Upper Legislative Chamber of the National Assembly also approved the appointment of Olukemi Victoria Iyantan as one of the commissioners in the National Population Commission, NPC, representing Ondo State. The confirmation of the appointment of Mrs. Iyantan by the Senate followed by consideration of the recommendations made to that effect by its Committee on National Identity Card and National Population.
The committee sat, perused through the credential of the nominee, and we had the cause to also write to the DSS, the Nigerian police, to actually confirm there was no query or petition against the nominee.
Senators approved the recommendation of the committee when it was put to voice vote by Deputy President of the Senate, Barrow Jibrin.
Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Mrs. Olukemi Victoria Iyantan, representing Ondo State, for appointment as a commissioner for the National Population Commission? Those in favor say aye, and those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Mrs. Iyantan will now join the commission, which is tasked with population data management as well as contributing to national planning and development.
Fair finance practices are crucial for Nigeria's economic growth. As digital banking and fintech rise, transparency, equity, and ethics in financial transactions are more important than ever. In this report, Trust TV's Dorcas Yakubu engages with civil society actors on the urgent need to combat illicit financial activities in Nigeria. Take a look.
Illicit financial flows, IFFs, pose a major threat to Nigeria's development, worsening poverty, inequality, and governance challenges. Civil society groups emphasize the urgent need to tackle IFFs while strengthening human rights, environmental, social, and governance policies.
From 2019 to date, that's close to about 5 to 6 years, Nigeria has lost over 800 billion naira to illicit financial flows through even oil and gas. And it will shock you to know that with this amount of money, it's almost 81% now to fund Nigeria budgets.
Here we are buying fuel in parts of the country for 1,600 naira. So that has further deepened, the poverty level in the country. That's the massive effect, of illicit financial flows in the country.
And so we want to call on big multinational companies, international oil companies working and operating in Nigeria to begin to live up to the United Nations Guiding Principles on Human Rights and Business, where they respect human rights, where they follow regulations and also ensure that the rights on ground are quite protected.
While technology drives growth in the banking sector, civil society groups urge financial institutions to closely monitor transactions to ensure transparency and prudence in financial dealings.
Solution service providers, Money Point and all of those, Now, you need to look at what happens there. A lot of people are moving out of the banks, and a lot of flows are going out, within that space. That space is not being well monitored. It needs to be monitored properly.
Stakeholders emphasize the need for anti-graft agencies to provide robust protection for whistleblowers, asserting that this is crucial for effectively combating illicit financial flows in the country.
Before now, there's this whistleblowing policy, but the challenges we're having now is that there is no protection act. Whoever blows whistle, that person is on his or her own. So we are trying to see that EFCC should also ensure that if somebody is willing and able to share an idea where they could be able to recover billions of naira, the rights and life of that person should be protected.
Fair finance practices are essential for building a resilient financial system in Nigeria. Despite ongoing challenges, the united efforts of regulatory bodies, financial institutions, NGOs, and consumers can create a more equitable and transparent financial environment. By prioritizing these principles, Nigeria can boost economic stability, foster inclusive growth, and enhance the overall quality of life for its citizens. Dorcas Yakubu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now it's time for business. Let's join Yusuf Akogo for business news update.
Time for some business stories. The Nigeria Interbank Settlement System has said that instant payments increased to 89.50 trillion naira in July 2024 due to sustained increases in the adoption of electronic payment system. According to data obtained from NIBSS, the figure represents a 12.45% compared to the 79.5 trillion naira recorded in June and an 89% year-on-year increase compared to the 47.38 trillion naira recorded in July. Instant payment is an account-based real-time electronic fund transfer platform. It enables financial institutions to provide online real-time funds transfer services to customers through all available electronic channels. Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Workers Association of Nigeria, PENGASIN, has said that floating of the naira is responsible for unending petrol price hike in the country and not the removal of subsidy. President of the association, Festus Osifo, who stated this, argued that the major challenges facing Nigeria is the federal government devaluation of the naira. Calling for strategic management of the country's exchange rate, Osifo said the devaluation of the naira has had far-reaching effects across multiple sectors, including fuel pricing. He said if the naira was pegged at 450 naira per dollar, petrol could have been less than 400 naira with removal of subsidy. NGX closed Thursday trading in red as profit taking hit major high cap equities. Let's see how it went down today. Leading the losers, there is Cabinet Helicopter is down 9.73% to close at 2 naira and 97 kobo per share. Cadbury Nigeria PLC also ended on the negative side of the market, 9.39% it lost to close at 17 naira and 85 kobo per share. Of course, ICO, an insurance company, down 9.17%. It closed at 1 naira and 9 kobo per share. Of course, this has dragged down the market downward by 0.47%, volume up to 338.86 million shares valued at 6.53 billion naira in a list of 8,894 lead exchanges among investors this Thursday. Of course, looking at the top trading equities by volume, UBA lead at table 29.18 million shares. It traded Access Corporation 26.99 million shares. Of course, Honey Flower 25.5 million shares. It traded as well. Of course, some equities also recorded gains despite the negative closure of the market. FTN Cocoa leader table there 1 naira and 79 kobo. The price share ended there. LR Lakes also up as well, 9.80%. It closed at 4 naira and 48 kobo per share. Of course, Deep Cap also up there, 9.78%. They closed at 1 naira and 1 kobo per share there. And that's the highlight of stock trading as it went down this Thursday on the floor of NGS. Let's see the global stock market and exchange rate data for today. prices slipped on Thursday, reversing earlier gains on media report that Saudi Arabia, the world top crude exporter, will give up its price target in preparation for raising output. And the London market Brent crude sells for $71 per barrel. For the pay basket, dealers offer $75 per barrel. And that's business. I am Yusuf Akugu.
Thank you, Yusuf Akogo, for that. Now, still on business news, Vice President Kashim Shettima has welcomed ExxonMobil's proposed $10 billion investment in Nigeria's deep-water oil operations, describing it as a clear testament to the administration's economic reforms and investment-friendly policies. This is coming just as the international maritime giant DP World announced plans to develop a multi-billion-dollar port project in Nigeria. According to the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communications, Stanley Nkwocha, the Vice President stated this during a high-level meeting with ExxonMobil executives and officials of the DP World on the sidelines of the ongoing 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York, United States. The centerpiece of the ExxonMobil's new strategy in the Owa project, a substantial subsea tieback that could represent a $10 billion investment as it aims to inject $1 billion annually into maintenance operations and an additional $1.5 billion to boost production by 50,000 barrels per day over the next few years. In a related development, the Nigerian government secured a $600,000 relief fund and commitment from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for relief efforts for victims of floods, as well as for health and agricultural sectors reforms. The foundation pledged the $600,000 for flood relief in Borno State and other health sector initiatives, with an additional $5 million grant approved for Lagos Business School and partners to develop the agricultural economics of industrial cassava. The donation was announced when Vice President Kashim Shettima held a meeting with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation led by its head of Global Development Program, Christopher Elias, on the sidelines of the 79th UNGA. On the international scene, Benin prosecutors said Wednesday that 3 prominent men, including a presidential guard commander, have been arrested on suspicion of planning a coup d'etat in the small West African nation. The other 2 accused of attempting a putsch are a former sports minister and a businessman close to President Patrice Talon. Alum Mario Metano, the special prosecutor at Benin's Court for Financial Crimes and Terrorism, said the alleged coup was planned to take place on Friday. The court said Homeki was detained at around 1 a.m. on Tuesday as he was handing over 6 bags of cash of $2.5 million to the commander, Jimon Diodone Teverio. The court said Boko, known as a longtime friend of President Patrice Talon, was arrested separately overnight on Monday to Tuesday in Benin's economic capital of Cotonou. Boko's lawyer and supporters denounced what they called his abduction and called for his immediate release. Airstrikes and shelling rocked Khartoum on Thursday as the army attacked paramilitary positions throughout the Sudanese capital, according to eyewitnesses and a military source. The clashes began at dawn, several residents reported, in what appeared to be the army's first major offensive in months to regain parts of the capital controlled by its rival paramilitary rapid support forces. It comes with Sudan high on the agenda of the United Nations centerpiece meeting in New York this week. On the sidelines of the talks, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres voiced concern to Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan about the escalation of the conflict in Sudan. Sudanese army forces were waging fierce fighting against the rebel militia inside Khartoum, a source in the military told AFP, referring to the RSF. The source, who spoke on condition of anonymity, said army forces had crossed 3 key bridges over the Nile River, which had separated parts of the capital held by the army from those under RSF control. It is now time for sports news updates with Emmanuel Fashemi. Take a look.
The Minister of Sports, Senator John Waneno, on Wednesday set up a 7-member committee to investigate the negative exposures the country was subjected to at the 2024 Paris Olympics and Paralympic Games. Inaugurating the committee, which has Dr. Mumuni Alao as chairman at the Media Center of the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja, the minister stated that as part of the terms of reference, the committee should revisit the issues which exposed the nation inappropriately, including that of Favour Fili and essay Okparense of cycling. The committee was also mandated to wade into the doping issues surrounding some of the athletes at the Olympics and Paralympics, the contract agreement between Actively Black Company and the Nigerian Olympic Committee, as well as the code of conduct amongst Team Nigeria members, amongst others. In carrying out the assignment, Senator Eno charged the committee to be firm, diligent and professional, adding that the constitution of the committee was devoid of any affiliation with the sports ministry, federations and other key players during the games. The minister stated that in the past, such matters were swept under the carpet, noting that under his leadership, the nation deserves to get to the root of the matter to prevent future occurrence. Senator Eno expressed confidence in the ability of the committee to get the job done since its members are men and women of honor and integrity. The chairman of the committee, Dr. Mumuni Alao, thanked the minister for the opportunity to serve the nation. He assured that they will approach the assignment with commitment, adding that the committee will not disappoint the nations. Members of the committee are Dr. Mumuni Alao, Southwest Chairman, Aliu Muhammad, Northwest Member, Hajia Rekia Muhammad, North Central Member, Godwin Enahena, South Member, Dr. Abubakar Ango, Northeast Member, Nene Akudo, Southeast Member, Barrister Victor Okangbe as Secretary. And that is what I am, Emmanuel Fashimi.
And with that, we've come to the end of Trust TV News Hour. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms and join our YouTube live stream for more news programs and documentaries. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Thanks for watching. Good evening.